Composite photography. How do we do it? Why do we do it? And why you should be doing it. Let's get into it.
Coming out the green room in a blue suit.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. I appreciate you spending your time with me. Today we're talking about composite photography. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ed. I'm a Melbourne-based photographer, videographer, and freelance digital marketer. Firstly, before we begin and dig into it, if you are looking for a short and sharp tutorial for composite photography, unfortunately, this is not the one for you. This is quite an in-depth tutorial. I'm going to go through absolutely everything you need to know about composite photography, where to start, what you need, and the best ways to go about it, and then take you through a full editing process on how to do it. So if you're looking for an in-depth guide to how to shoot composite photography, how to take amazing photos and create crazy effects that people are gonna try and guess how you did it, this is a video for you. But if you're looking for something to 5 minutes to teach you how to do it and just get the basics, unfortunately, I don't have a solution for you, so I do apologize. So let's get into it. First things first, what is composite photography? It is the process of taking several images, compressing them down into one, or editing them into one to create cool abstract effects. So what that means is you're going to be taking several photos, editing them into one to create effects that would be either extremely difficult to pull off solo, or it basically looks like magic. You see it a lot with like floating image photos. I like to use it to do the floating images but create a more dynamic sort of look and very abstract. It seems to be what works for my clients anyway. There is a couple of disclaimers to this, guys. It is a huge time investment for you to do this. For me, for this image just here, it took me about 4 hours to produce from start to finish, start shooting to the edited piece. Realistically, if I was shooting a location and it was a location I knew well, if you sat me down and made me shoot for 4 hours there and edit time, I'd probably be delivering somewhere in the range of 100 to 150 images for a client, especially if it's based around food photography / lifestyle photography. So it's probably not for you if you're on a tight budget for time with your clients, but if you do have creative freedom, this is a really good way to engage your client's audience and create content that's really gonna make people go, holy shit, because I've employed this with my clients, they've published it, and it's gone mental, and people are always asking how they did it, who was the photographer, because I know that's always a good feeling when someone publishes it and they ask who the photographer was. So let's go through the tips and tricks of how to do this properly, and then we're gonna go into my living room, do a quick little loop of how I did it, and you guys can sort of see it behind the scenes, and then we're gonna go jump into the computer to see how we edit it from start to finish, and then we'll get with the end result. All right, tip number one, guys, and this is probably the most important one, is have a tripod. These are virtually impossible to pull off well without a tripod. The reason being is you want the light source and the angle to be virtually the same the whole way through. As I'll explain when we're in the editing process, one of the most important things you can do is take a background image with a locked focus, so always manual focus, and use that as your clean slate. If you do not have a tripod, all those little micro movements that you're gonna do with the camera just naturally holding it, or maybe you've taken half a step to the side, it's gonna change the lighting angle, it's gonna change the depth of field, it's gonna change too many factors for you to make realistic content through your composites. So very important, guys, make sure that you are using a tripod. Second thing is, and I did sort of mention it there, is try and keep the same light source. People are gonna be able to see that one subject has a different light source, almost, than the other one, and it's gonna ruin that immersion. And what you really wanna do is have people guessing how you did the photo rather than saying something's not right about it. So keep that in mind, guys. Static light source, just like I've got up here. Beautiful static light source. If you can, make sure you are shooting next to a window with plenty of time. So maybe in winter, you're probably not gonna get the best time frame for doing it, and you probably wanna be done with your shooting portion in half an hour if possible, to make sure the light doesn't change too much while you are shooting. And that is why it's also important to have a tripod so your camera's locked off and you can't mess with how it's moving. Other one is, and I did slightly mention this one before, is manual focus. When we are taking these photos, what you want to do is set your focus point on your camera, and then you do not want to move it. One of the things can throw off someone really quite a bit is if you've got elements of the photo that are out of focus, then you've got something that looks like it's on the same horizontal plane as that, and it's in focus, again, it's going to be quite jarring to the audience, and it's going to sort of disconnect them from really immersing with the photos. So making sure you're on locked off focus, so you're going to pick your focal point and you're going to stick with it the whole way through. What I like to do is shoot as a sort of low angle and have a little bit of tape or a little sticky point, or at least something notable. Maybe it's a little knot of wood in the table that you're shooting on, whatever it might be, something like that that can help you define, like, this is where my focal point is, or this is my focal range. So then when you are rearranging the objects, like you'll see me doing out there, it is over the same point and it makes sense to the audience watching it. So that is it, guys. Manual focus, tripod, static source of light, and this probably goes without saying as it goes for all shoots. Make sure you're planning this out. Don't just go like, oh, I'm just gonna do a composite photo. Know what you're gonna shoot beforehand. So let's head over to the living room, guys. We'll watch me do this thing really quickly, then we're gonna jump into the computer and see how we go editing this up. What we can see down here is the background images. So they're probably the most important. Like I mentioned before, it is really important to have a clean slate so you can sort of crop it out in Photoshop, which I will be showing you how to do. So one of the other things you need to be aware of is you pretty much want to try and edit everything so it's the same. So when you're going through these images, you want to be making sure the colors, the framing, everything, the positioning is the same. So when you port it over to Lightroom, you don't have to spend a bunch of time editing it again and then reshuffling things, reshifting things, transforming things. All right, it's just gonna make your whole process easier. So what I'm gonna do is just find one image that I like, get the framing right, and then I'm just gonna edit it really quickly just to make sure that it looks nice and crisp and the way I'd like it. I like a pretty contrasty style, so I'm just gonna do that real quick, and then I'm going to apply this to all of the other photos. Now, for those of you who don't know, you can copy all your framing and transforming effects from Lightroom. It's not the default setting. So what you need to go up to do is into Photo, copy, edit settings to copy, and then click on crop. And just for the sake of this tutorial, I'd probably set it as your default. You can always change it back later. It's just gonna make things easier. I'd advise you not to try and manually position things just by sight, just because you'll get lost a little bit and they'll be slightly off. Now all we got to go do is find each photo that we'd like. Remember, one photo from each side to create the floating effect, and just copy those in. And once we've done that, we will meet you over in Lightroom, where we're going to move all these images over and then start editing. Okay guys, so we are here in Photoshop, and as you can see, we've got 3 layers here. Most important one you can see there is our background layer and our 2 frame layers. Now, really important, guys, that we have our background layer, because we will be using layer masks to edit out what we don't need from the photos to create one cohesive photo. If you haven't heard of layer mask, guys, it's that little button down there, and essentially it is a tool for you to be able to eliminate what you don't need from photos while keeping what you do need. The effect that it does is essentially it'll make what you paint over with black transparent, and what you paint over with white it will reveal against. Making sure our layer mask is selected, when we paint over it with black, you're going to see that it will conceal my arm and reveal the background layer underneath it. So there you go, painting it with black, and it's just revealing the layer underneath. It's a cool little effect, and like I said, it is non-destructive, so you can delete the layer mask and get everything back. But as you can see, when we click on the background, it is just transparent through. So you're making a transparent background, which is why the background layer is so important. So what we're trying to do with the composite photography is eliminate what we don't need. So when I'm looking at these 2 frame photos, I want to get rid of my body / my arm holding the frame on both sides. So like I did with the previous frame, I eliminate my arm, and I'm going to do the same on this side.
So all I'm looking for with this previous photo, the one I haven't touched yet, is just that corner, because all I need to do is mask that corner into the side where I've eliminated the other bit. Little tip to make things a little bit easier, guys. If you are going through this and you've got a layer mask and you only really need a tiny section of a photo, you can just invert the layer mask and it's going to go fully transparent. So you're just pressing Control I, invert it, and as you can see, now it's gone completely transparent. So now I've just got to paint over that little corner, find that, roughly find it. Now I'm just going to press Control T to transform, twist a little bit and line it up so it's roughly not too bad. It's not too bad with the angle, and now it's just about using our brush strokes to get through that and make sure we are lining it up. Now I'm going to do this for all the layers, and you guys will see this sped up, and we'll be going through that to create the ended videos. We're going to pop back in a little bit just to show you little techniques to make things really crisp, because maybe on Instagram you won't see it, but if you did want to blow these images up or anything, these little details and really getting into the nitty-gritty of it will help you create more realistic photos. So we're going to speed this bit up, and then we'll drop back in when I'm showing you some little techniques that are going to help you make it really easier. Another little tip for you guys, and this one's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You can use the pen tool to make selections while you're going through these. As you can see here, I've got this jug that I want to use, but it is only a small part of the photo and it's quite easy to select. So what I'm going to do while I've got my layer mask selected is grab my pen tool. I'm just going to cut out the bit that I want from the layer. So I'm just going to follow around pretty roughly. You don't have to be like super accurate with this, because we can use the pen tool after the fact, the brush tool after the fact, to clean this up a little bit. So I'm just going to get the majority of what I need from this photo as clean as I can without bothering too much. Obviously the pen tool is one of those things where you can do it really detailed and spend an hour making a selection. But once I've got my selection, all I've got to do is select it, make selection. Don't really worry about the pixels too much, and then you're going to go Control Shift I, which is going to invert your selection, and then I'm just going to press Control I on the layer mask, because as I said before, when you press Control I, it inverts everything, but by selecting that, you've ignored that area. And as you can see, it's not the most perfect jug I've ever seen, but as I said, I can clean it up with the brush a little bit to make it a little bit more realistic, but it is just selecting that jug, getting it in there, and then I can clean it up later in post. It's just a nice little way, guys, to sort of neaten it up and speed up the process a little bit. So I'm going to go back to going super fast speed, and we'll show you guys the end image.
Alrighty guys, that is it. So here's the finished piece. I don't think it turned out too bad. It's not bad at all. Obviously I'm doing the best I could just with my living room. But more to the point, it's more about being creative with the objects you have. You can do anything and make it float, make it look cool. It is a cool effect to also use for product photography if you've got the time to do it. Maybe for your more high-end clients, it might be something to employ. It is a very cool effect, and I do love it, using it when I can. So thank you so much for sticking with me, guys. I know it was a little bit longer than you'd probably want from your tutorials, but I did want this to be in depth, because one of my pet peeves is when it's a tutorial and then you leave it, you've watched it, and then you go, I'm not sure I actually got anything out of that, or I don't think I'm any further along. So hopefully this helps you out, guys. If you have got this far, please consider liking, subscribing, shoot me a comment, find me on Instagram, because I would love to see if you guys create anything out of this. Follow me, tag me in your photos. I would appreciate it. I'd love to see them, and let me know how you go. Thank you so much for joining me. Next week, we're going to be talking about clients, how to deliver value to them, and how to grow your business through over-delivering to your clients, and a few bad habits that I've seen in the photography industry relating to that. So please stay tuned. I will see you again soon.
Coming out the green room.